Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to read a book called The 3 R's: Reuse, Reduce, Recycle. Excuse me. We've talked a little bit about recycling, and we know that recycling is what you do when you take your plastics, your metals, your cardboard, your papers, and glass, and you send them out to a recycling plant where they're made into new products. So let's see what we can learn about other things that we can do to take care of the earth. And happy Earth Day, by the way. Do you know the letter R? It is the first letter in 3 words that teach us different ways to fight pollution. It is the R in reuse, reduce, and recycle. Do you know these words? Reuse things that are still in good shape, such as your big brother's jacket. Reduce the amount of things we throw away, such as paper cups. Recycle old things to make new ones, such as a puppet out of an old sock. So reduce means to make smaller, by the way. So we're trying to make the amount of trash that we do smaller. In the town where Paul lives, people throw their garbage bags into a garbage container at the corner. In the morning, a garbage truck empties the container and takes the garbage bags. Do you know where they go? To a garbage landfill or dump, which is a huge place in the mountains or in the countryside, far from the city. So they're taking the trash somewhere out in nature and dumping it. In Paul's town, however, there are so many people and so much garbage is produced that every landfill is full already, and nobody knows where to build another. So they have built a huge furnace called an incinerator to burn all the waste material. Nobody likes to live close by. People think the smoke coming out of the chimney is harmful to plants, animals, and people. At Paul's school, they have talked about the huge amount of waste produced in just one day. And they have decided to reuse as many things as they can. That means that now they will use every object many times until it breaks or cannot be used anymore. At his school, they paint both sides of all sheets of paper, use the empty cans of paint to keep paper clips and rubber bands, and use the pieces of paper left over to make wonderful collages. Do you have any other ideas? Look, this guy made some boxes into a bird. She made a horse, and they've got angels. And he made toilet paper rolls into something fun. So they're reusing things. This is kind of like our STEM tubs. Like you guys have a box of STEM things, recycling, that you can make into other things. At home, everybody reuses as many things as possible. Paul wears the t-shirts that his big brother has outgrown and also plays with many of his old toys. Can you guess how many objects on the right page may be used over and over? Paul's brother outgrew his bike, and now Paul rides it. And since he has no use for his tricycle anymore, he has passed it on to his cousin. Now, when I was little, I had a cousin who was a couple years older than me, and I have a cousin who is a couple of years younger than me. So my cousin Holly, who's older, would actually get clothing and things from her older sister, Amy. And so Holly would wear them, and when she outgrew them, she would give them to me. And then when I outgrew them, I would give them to my younger cousin, Jennifer. So we passed a lot of clothes down so they didn't have to be thrown away. Now, if you look at all of these things, I think you could reuse lots of these. Even if you don't have somebody to give the shirts to, you could take them to somewhere like Goodwill, right? The roller skates, same thing. Something else we do at home and at school is trying not to waste water and electricity, because this way we help take care of our planet. It seems very little, but the drops of water from a leaking faucet could fill up a bathtub in a day. So keep the water and lights off when they are not needed, of course. When Paul and his family go shopping for food, they take their own baskets or bags made of cloth. By doing that, they won't have to ask for plastic or paper bags at the supermarket and will reduce the amount of plastic and paper made by factories. Reducing means using very little, only what is needed. Plastic bags are very handy, but sometimes they end up in the sea where they can be dangerous for animals. Turtles may take them for jellyfish and eat them, or they can get tangled up in the plastic rings we use to hold cans together. It's very important not to litter the ground, the woods, the beach, the ocean, or the city. The little bird looks kind of sickly, doesn't it? Right here. Those plastics and things are not good for them. Excuse me. At Paul's school, they throw all paper and cardboard into a special street container. Then trucks pick up everything and take it to a paper mill, where used paper and cardboard is shredded and washed until it becomes a pulp that is wet and soft. With this pulp, they make a paper again. When it gets dry, we have recycled paper. Practically everything can be recycled. Paper and cardboard, plastic objects, glass, cans. All these things are first shredded, ground, or pulped, and then they go through different processes that make new drinking cans, glass bottles, plastic containers. At school, we make paper paste out of torn and wet old papers. Things made with boxes and paper and paste. Paul's parents have told him that food scraps can also be recycled. All food that otherwise would be wasted can be made into fertilizer, which is food for plants. The fertilizer produced this way is called compost. The banana peels and lemon rinds Paul has just thrown into the garbage may become food for plants, like all food scraps. That's great. Some of you may have a compost pile. And that's where you put leaves and grass clippings and food scraps. And then those things break down and the worms eat them and they become really good food for the plants. What can be recycled? But if we want to recycle, we have to put the waste in special containers. Now, in the kitchen at Paul's home, there is a container for things made of plastic, metal, or glass, and another for all the other garbage. Also, all newspapers and magazines are neatly tied in packages so that they can be recycled. At some schools, they also collect used batteries. The children have been told batteries may not be recycled and that they pollute a lot. Batteries are not good. So it is very important not to throw them in the garbage. That's why the children have made a special container for them. Once it is full, they will take it to a recycling center where the metal from the batteries will be used to make new ones. The drawings to decorate the container are the work of Paul's class. Nice job, isn't it? If we waste less and recycle all we can, there will be less pollution, and we will be able to live for a long time in our little planet, breathing smokeless air, swimming in clear waters, and strolling through woods and countryside free from garbage. Paul thinks it is worth the effort. How about you? Now in the back it shows how you can make a milk carton birdhouse. You can take stale bread that's like kind of gotten crusty and hard, and make pudding. There's a little experiment in here. Making a notebook out of scraps of paper. Just lots of different ways that you can maybe reduce the amount of trash or make less the amount of trash that you make. I want to show you something that I received as a gift. And I've had this for, goodness, I think I've had this for about 9 years. This came from a little boy named Alex. When I taught in Indianapolis, he and his daddy made this for me. I was both his kindergarten teacher and his first grade teacher. And it's a pencil holder. And if you look, it's absolutely lovely. But here's the cool thing. Alex and his dad used a soup can to make this. So if you look inside, it's a soup can. And soup cans can have sharp edges. So to keep me from cutting myself, they actually wrapped a ribbon around the top to cover anything that could be sharp. Then they took sticks from their yard, and his dad carved the sticks into pencil points, and they painted the points. And they glued them all the way around to make a beautiful pencil holder for my pencils. So this sits on my desk and is one of my favorite gifts, because this is one soup can that will not go into the dump. Instead of going to the dump and sitting for all these years, it sits on my desks and holds all my pencils and markers and pens. So this is one way that something that could go to the trash could be made into something beautiful and reusable. I want to challenge you guys today. Can you find something in your home, in your recycling, or maybe mom or dad have something that they'd like you to use? Can you find something and make it into something else that you could reuse for many years? Just a thought.